And we are recording.
Awesome. Would you mind telling us your name?
Okay, it's Wendel Fisher.
So, Wendel, when did you move to Greenhills?
In June 15th of 1938.
And how old would you have been then?
2.
2 years old? Do you know why your family moved to Greenhills?
Okay, we came from Indiana, and my father worked for the post office, and we lived in Westwood. And I don't know how he found out about Greenhills, but anyway, they applied for it. And I found out recently that, and stuff here, that they had to fill out 2 forms. There was an application form that they filled out, and that was sent in, and then if you were selected on that form, they sent you another form that you had to fill out that told everything about your family and yourself. And then from that, then it was sent back in, and then you were selected from that then, so it was quite a process.
Sounds like it. Were there any features or amenities about Greenhills that attracted your family to move here? That you know of, at least?
That I don't know.
That's
That
fine.
was never discussed. I know we came out, and they went through some of the units.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand my mother said that she wanted a 2-bedroom, and the government says, no, you have 3 boys, you have to take a 3-bedroom.
And so you mentioned that you lived in Indiana before.
Right.
I know you were very young.
I was born there.
Okay. Do you know from family stories what it was like at all? Like what your house used to be like or anything?
In Indiana?
Yeah. Did you
No,
live in a
not
city
really.
or?
Not really.
Okay. What about in Greenhills? Do you remember your home
Oh, yeah.
here? Do you mind telling us about it a little bit?
Okay, there was at 21 Bachman, was a single unit, was connected to the others with 3 garages. And it was a 2-story, of course, and which was really a large kitchen, living room, dining room, had a full basement. Other things. I laid some notes down over there someplace.
I just unless it's in your coat pocket, I'm just seeing.
No,
your
they're not.
Okay.
Okay, I must have left them downstairs. But my wife said a note on it that it was heated with coal. Had large windows that more or less, being out here, would cool off in the evenings, and they would open the windows upstairs. And of course, the large window let it lie in, and circulation. And of course, there was a front yard wasn't too large, but backyard was large, and there was a big play area in the back where there was slides, swings, sandbox, and an area to play ball or football or baseball or fly kites.
So is that so did your backyard and other houses' backyards lead to this space? Yeah. Was there a favorite space that you had? Either was it the outside space or inside in your home?
It was more or less outside, I think,
outside.
playing outside. Because there was several kids my age too. That
So you mentioned that your father was worked for the post office.
Right.
So when your family moved here, did he continue to do that?
Oh, yeah.
Or? Okay.
He worked at the annex down there at Liberty and Dalton Street.
What about your mother?
Stay-at-home mother.
Nothing wrong with that.
Cooked, baked, canned.
All the important things.
Yeah, yeah.
And so you mentioned, so you had 2 other brothers then?
2 older brothers, yeah.
Okay. So what different types of activities did you participate in Greenhills?
Okay. See, I'm trying to think. Younger, just before school and stuff, that was all just play with the neighborhood kids. And then during the elementary, there weren't too many things of activities then, but then eventually got old enough to go to the pool in the summertime. There was swim lessons in the mornings, life saving in the mornings, classes, and then went home and got lunch and spent the afternoons in the pool. And I was there, your mother didn't have to go with you and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Okay. And so then, so as you got older, so into high school, were there any other sort of like extracurricular activities that you did?
Yeah, there was, actually I got to, took piano lessons as a youngster. And then I was given a trumpet to learn on, and then I played in the band all through junior high and high school.
We've also heard that there's been a large portion of young boys that were part of like the Scouts here in Greenhills. Were you a part of that as well? Or?
Yeah, I tried to be in that. On that, the government gave or set aside some land on Sharon Road. Now, at that time, it was Cameron Road for the Boy Scouts. And the Boy Scouts built a large log cabin of utility poles. It was donated by a telephone company and electric company. And of course, my oldest brother was really involved in the scouting thing, but I can remember Dad going up and working on that, of putting that cabin up, and it was had a big stone walk-in fireplace, big front porch on it. There's some pictures around of it somewhere around here. But then when the Hamilton County Parks took over, they told the Boy Scouts to get out. If you want to use it, you got to rent it like everybody else. And then eventually it was burnt down. Somebody set it afire. Of course, by the time the fire department got there, it was fully engulfed because it was creosote poles.
Right.
But that was just a neat place.
It sounds like it.
Up there.
Was your family religious at all? Did you?
Yeah, we went to church. At that time, all the churches were here in the community building. I believe that the Catholics had Mass early, and then it was a non-denominational church met in the gym down here. And they had their service, and then I think the Catholics had another Mass at 12 or something like that.
And which group did you participate in?
In the Protestant.
The Protestant
church.
Flipping back sort of to high school, so you mentioned you were in the band.
Yes.
Did you have a job of any kind? Did you?
Okay. When I got a driver's license, I think there was something with the store manager and my father talked, and I wound up with a job there. But I sacked groceries, and at that time the co-op had a delivery truck, and we delivered groceries because the ladies would walk to the store and buy their groceries and things, and they might take a few things with them when they walked back home, but then we would deliver them. When I got out of high school or got out of school, I would go up and clock in and go get the truck and load up and take deliveries around.
That's awesome. We've also heard a couple different stories of sort of like pranks on friends and hijinks like that. Do you have any sort of recollections of these sort of things?
I heard that other people did.
Oh.
I never got involved in those kind of things, but there's those things I've heard about that went on.
Yeah, of course. Were there any locations in the village that were really meaningful to you?
Well, I guess home.
Well, yeah.
But it was really the woods around the village. That was our playground. And we would go out in the woods, and Mother didn't seem to mind or worry about us. And sometimes she'd pack us a lunch, and off we'd go.
And then you also mentioned the pool as well.
Oh yeah, the pool was really the thing in the summertime. I don't exactly remember how much it cost per year, but it was very, very inexpensive for a whole family to join the pool. And that was always a lot of kids there in the afternoons.
And so then for here in the community building, so did you attend Greenhills all the way in this?
From kindergarten to 12th grade.
Before the interview, you were talking about sort of some of the rooms here in the school. Were there any teachers or classes that you really enjoyed?
Industrial arts. Yeah. We had actually it was the basement was the kindergarten was in the basement at the bottom of the steps here on this end of the building, and the cafeteria was down there. Elementary school was in the south wing. First grade, second grade, third grade, and fourth grade. Fifth grade was under the room underneath us here. And of course there was the library. And it was interesting that the community building, there was a lot of community activity that went on here. The library was open in the evenings for the public to come in, and that there was night classes that was started by the government. They had book clubs, they had language. The industrial arts room was open to use the power tools and make things. I think they had sewing classes and different activities that the government held.
So then, do you remember, so when did you graduate from Greenhills?
In 1954. And it was interesting that a lot of us went from kindergarten through 12th grade together. It was kind of an interesting, you had a lot of the people that were the same, we went to school with forever, it seems like.
Was there anything that you got to participate in curriculum-wise that was different from other students?
Not really.
As in, no, you mentioned the industrial arts, so were there girls in that class with you, or was it?
No.
Okay.
Now, the girls had their home ec, was right, like I showed you where that room was, underneath that room on the basement floor was the home ec room. But then, we had chorus, Boys Glee Club, mixed chorus, octet. And those things, and the girls triple trio and the boys octet. At Christmas time we would go to nursing homes and things to sing.
Would you say that having this sort of very close-knit education growing up, that it affected you moving forward in life, or?
don't know how to answer that really.
It's fine.
It's I guess it's a unique thing. Because today our class meets every 3 months for lunch, and we'll have maybe anywhere from 5 or 6 to 13, 14 that show up, and they try to keep in touch with some of the ones out of town and like that. Because like when we do meet, then somebody will say, "Oh, I talked or I emailed so and so, and this was happening," and like that. So it's we kind of, because there's only 46 in our class when we graduated.
Do you mind telling us a little bit about your classmates, about your friends in Greenhills?
See, I gotta think about that a little bit. It's kind of like understand, like my wife came, she didn't come until her senior year, and she had a hard time because she was from the outside, and I guess that's really because a lot of us, various groups ran together and things like that. And that probably was, their different interests and things like that. But it was, there was like the people who played sports and the people that were into music. You kind of hung out with the people that were in the band and things like that. Because some of us, we played with the youth symphony down at the old Conservatory of Music. They had an orchestra there on Saturdays. So it's, you kind of like things that you did outside curricular, I can't say it, activities that, if it was music, then a lot of those people we like hung together, and the football players and the baseball players and sports and things like that.
So one thing that we've heard sort of in other interviews is that there's almost like a divide between like the people who lived in Greenhills and then the farm kids that had to sort of like come into the school. Would you say that you experienced that at all, or do you think you all sort of got along?
Because really there weren't that many.
Yep.
They only had one school bus. So I don't know that I ever saw that. And some of the kids that I knew that lived on the farms, they didn't seem to, they played sports and things like that too. So I didn't think that it, may have in other classes, but I can't remember if we had it. Yeah, we did have some that were from the farms.
Now sort of looking at Greenhills as a whole, do you remember, were there any other sort of like religious differences or racial differences that you remember growing up?
Not that I really, because when we, the kids in the neighborhood played, there were some Catholics and Protestants, and it didn't seem like with the kids that we ever had any problems with that. Just with, somebody, we wanted to get up a ball game or something, they had to go to catechism class or something like that. So, it was, nobody made a big deal out of it, I think. And our band, I was in a dance band then for a while in high school, that we played for dances in the basement of the Catholic church. It was before they built the top on the school.
Do you remember there ever being any single people at all in Greenhills, or were they mostly just families?
There probably was the apartments. I think there would have been single people there, or just couples. there again, that was controlled by the government.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we kind of had this conversation about gender a little bit. Boys were in shop and girls did home ec. Did that translate out into sort of like the groups that you played in? Did you have like only boys groups? And girls
no,
groups?
we had girls that played baseball with us and things like that.
Would you say that there were certain expectations of being like a young man? That's things that you were expected to do or expected to behave a certain way?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess anybody, your parents, try to teach you right and wrong,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. Expect you to go to school every day.
Mm-hmm.
And things that, of course, here in the village, everybody walked to school.
Right.
We didn't have buses that picked us up or anything. Once in a while, of course, during the war, Dad was in a carpool thing, and those people would take turns. So Mom would have the car once in a while, and if it was raining, she'd take us to school in a car.
So, how often did you your family have a relationship with downtown Cincinnati? Did you go downtown at all?
I don't ever remember going downtown. A lot of the shops and things that Mom and Dad visited was over in Mount Healthy. Mount Healthy had dry goods stores.
Mm-hmm.
They had stores that sold shoes, repaired shoes, sold clothing and things like that. There was the grocery over there before they got the co-op started here in the village.
Mm-hmm.
The delicatessen and things were over there.
Mm-hmm. And so would your family drive there? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you know, so maybe not your family, but did you know of anybody else? Did they like commute from Greenhills to downtown?
Oh yeah.
Or, okay.
Oh yeah, because originally they had a bus. I don't know if anybody, there's some pictures around of a bus in front of the shopping center.
Mm-hmm.
Dad, he drove down to the post office. And then during the war, there was several postal clerks that lived out here that I think they got together and rode. Save gas and tires and things during the war.
Is there anyone that you can think of that came from Cincinnati to Greenhills, like they commuted to work up here?
Probably did on the maintenance crews and things that worked out here. Probably came from other places to work, where they took care of the shrubbery and the flower beds and mowed the common areas. And they picked up the garbage and things here.
So how would you say Greenhills aligned politically when you and your family lived here?
In reading some things, that it was pretty much Democrat. One of the things I saw that I was reading last night, that a construction supervisor was having the workers donate to the Democratic Party and was making them go to Democratic meetings. Of course, it was, a Roosevelt project at that time, so it was pretty much Democratic.
Do you remember were residents politically active in like the local politics?
Yeah. Yeah, they had their But that was another kind of interesting things. The two political parties would put on musicals. They were like the old minstrel shows with the dancers and the young men and all this. But people from both parties attended each other's shows and things, which were down here in the community building, because there's the stage and everything up there. And so that was kind of a, in that respect, it was entertainment, so everybody came. Those were kind of fun with the entertainment and the things that they had.
Do you remember any topics that ended up being like controversial at all, or while you were living here, any big political issues?
I can't remember any of it as a kid. Didn't seem like Dad was involved in too much of that. I guess later on there's been some things going on out here. So.
So, as you're aware, Greenhills was built as an experiment, cooperative, sort of like these socialist principles. So do you think that played out in people's lives here in Greenhills?
Yes. I guess technically Greenhills was built as a walking community. The schools, the shopping center and everything, pool and all that was in the center. And everything was really within walking distance. And if you notice the older buildings, there's very few garages. So it was more built as a walking community. And the way the streets are laid out and curves and things to control the traffic of not speeding through and things like that. But it's the other, there was times when Mom would call me in from playing and say, hey, Miss Rasnick needs a loaf of bread. Get on your bike, here's money, go get her a loaf of rainbow bread or something. And then I would do that, and I might get a dime for doing that. But it's just things like that. Our neighborhood had ice cream socials. Oh, the lights are on timers. If you want to get them on, just walk over there, it'll go on then. But we had, there was three men in the neighborhood that fished on weekends. And the Sharon Woods Lake was there back in the 40s. And then there was a lot of pay lakes around. And they would go fishing on Saturday mornings and Sunday mornings, bring the fish home and clean them and everything. And they might bring a package over to your house and you put those in your freezer. And of course everybody at that time had those little small, the refrigerator with the small ice cube tray thing in it. Well, when everybody's freezer in the neighborhood got full, they would have a fish fry. And then they'd meet at one house, and I think we had a small deep fryer, and somebody else did, and they would get those going, and then people would bring coleslaw and potato salad and salads and cakes and cookies and stuff, and they'd have a fish fry. And then we had ice cream socials, where they would go to the locker and get big containers of ice cream and order them, and there again, people would bring in all this stuff and they'd have but it seemed like there was more. I can remember Mom would get her dishes done in the evening, and summertime they'd take their lawn chair out in front, and pretty soon here come the neighbor dragging their chair, and somebody else would come, and I don't know what they talked about, whether it's politics or what, but because the kids then we would play hide and seek or kick the can while the parents were talking, and there was more of that kind of thing, neighbor helping neighbor and things like that.
Can you think of any times where maybe somebody like strayed from this sort of general community feeling, or anybody that? So you're saying that everybody sort of played into this cooperative. Were there any times that people rejected the idea?
Possibly was. I don't remember anything like that in our neighborhood. Where maybe if they did, they moved.
Okay. So in addition to it being sort of like this cooperative community, so the village was planned. It was planned. You mentioned sort of like this commuter community. Were there any areas that you think worked well or didn't work well? These sort of pre-designed spaces?
I don't think so, because it's really, I think other people told you that the people who live here had to make within a certain salary range. And then the investigation that they had to go through. In fact, I remember my mother saying that the government came and talked to our neighbors in Westwood, wanting to know what kind of people we were. Did they keep their house clean? Did they keep the porch clean? Things like that. So it's pretty much everybody went through that same investigation type thing before they were accepted to move here.
And you always felt safe playing in the Greenbelt and playing in the cul-de-sac and things like that?
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier your house. We've heard a lot that people think these houses are they're built to last. Was your house similar to that as well, or?
It was brick, had slate roof, copper gutters and downspouts. And the bathroom plaster was concrete. Because the neighbors said Mom wanted a towel rack, another towel rack put up. So I got a drill out, burnt the bit up on it. It wasn't plaster. It was concrete.
So, how would you say that World War II impacted either you, your family, or just Greenhills in general?
Well, it was they had rationing, of course, and Mom had her ration stamps and things like that. But there's things that she worked around. So we used to have the milkman would come. We didn't get from the milkman. We got our milk from the farms around here. Fresh milk, unpasteurized. And but we had a bread man that came and he'd pull up in the drive and jump out of his truck with his basket and open the door and holler, "Omar!" and come walking into the kitchen. And then there was a fellow from Nealon Company that had sold spices and things. Well, nobody in the family smoked. So Mom kept her ration stamps for cigarettes and traded those for something else with the Nealon man. So it's, and then she canned vegetables and fruits and things. We'd go out to Peach Grove, which is out beyond Northgate Mall, which was Mount Healthy Airport. And we'd go out that way, called Peach Grove, and that's a lot of orchards and things out there. And so they'd buy, bushel of peaches and other fruits, and Mom would can those, or we'd freeze them. Because there was a freezer locker thing down there at the shopping center in the back. I don't know if anybody else mentioned that or not. And then we would get, of course, all my mother's brothers were farmers up in northern Indiana. So we'd go up there and get a side of beef, bring it home, and the locker would cut it up and freeze it for us. Or we would get chickens. They'd go out the night before we come home, and my aunt would say, take this one, take this one, take this one, and put them in a big crate, put them back of the 40 Chevrolet, bring them home, carry the crate out in the backyard, and next morning Mom would get up and sharpen the knife up and start cutting up chickens. And they would crow in the morning, and so it's, things like that we were, and then they had the victory gardens that Dad always had a victory garden. We grew vegetables and things, and you were expected to go along and hoe the weeds and things. So as far as that, I think they had trouble getting shoes for my one brother because of his shoe size. But we seemed to, Dad used to get tires retreaded and things like that, so didn't seem to impact us too much. I can remember the blackouts they would have during the war, and the civil defense guys would come out with their little helmets on and check to make sure you had your drapes drawn, that you didn't have any cracks of light coming out. And of course we saved tin cans. You saved the fat from your cooking and turned that into the co-op butcher shop. And of course I got hand-me-down clothes.
Did you know any men that served in the war?
Yeah. I had some cousins that did. And Mom would write to them, and she would, the one was in France, and she would send tins with cookies and things into him. I remember that. My dad was in the First World War. Go ahead.
So, when the war was over, do you remember what that was like here in Greenhills? Was there?
Yeah, because there was, I guess, a lot of the people, fellas coming home. I do remember in high school that we started to get a lot of the men teachers that had come over from the war and then gone to college and became teachers. So we had several men teachers. When I remember singing patriotic songs and things in elementary school. And then we, I don't know if you noticed down in the foyer, there's the round thing with the ticket booth, and then there's the hallway that goes both ways. And on the wall toward the gym, there's a roll-up window thing where they sold savings stamps. And when you got so many stamps in a book, you got a war bond with it. So the school was involved in that. I think they were a quarter of a stamp or something like that.
So you mentioned you graduated from Greenhills in 1954.
Right.
So then what did you do after that? So you met your wife your senior year?
No,
Oh,
she
okay.
wasn't here then.
Okay.
I got a job with a telephone company in 54.
And you stayed here in Greenhills?
Yeah.
Okay. So then when did you meet your wife?
Oh, she came here 2 years later. In her senior year. Her dad was transferred here to Cincinnati. In high school, Various classes would put on plays. For a long time, there weren't any plays. In our class, our junior class, somehow we got that they wanted to do a play. So we had a teacher that was into theatrical stuff, and we went the whole way. We had to build scenery and stuff, so I was involved in building a scenery, but everybody in the class had something to do with that. You know, there was people that sold advertisements, there was people with tickets, there was people with ushering, there was cast, there were stage hands. It seemed like everybody in the class had a job in that. And I was involved in building the scenery and things like that. And after I got out of high school, then the teacher asked me to come back and help them with their scenery, and if we had to build additional flats for the scenery they wanted and things like that. And she was in a play, and that's how I met her then.
So then did you get married here in Greenhills?
Yeah.
And then lived here ever since?
Yeah. Well, I got, we had a wedding date set for in June, and I got drafted in April. So we had to delay the wedding and things. We had all the invitations and everything, and she got a hold of somebody that said, yeah, it's all right, you can just go in and change the date with a pen. That was completely all right with etiquette or whatever. And then I went to Fort Knox.
And so then how long did you serve for?
I was active duty 2 years and wound up in the band. That was funny. My father was in the Army band in World War I.
Like father, like son?
Yeah.
So, would you say that the Cold War, it impacted Greenhills at all?
Gosh. I really don't know about.
There was no like feelings of like fear. Or
That was the only thing that of course I was out of school, but the schools were having their air raid exercises. You get under the desk and things like that. We didn't really have anything like that during the Second World War. We had our fire drills and things like that. But it's I don't know that really affected.
Okay. And so as somebody living in the community during this time, you never thought like, oh, we need to build a bomb shelter or anything like that? You felt
they actually designated this building as a bomb shelter, in the basement. I don't know if they had the signs on the building or not. I don't remember that. I know they had some of the subway that was started downtown, that they used part of that for shelters and had food and water and stuff and stored in it. But I don't remember. I know when I was in the Army, though, the Berlin thing came up, and we played a lot of troops out, and things like helicopters and like that disappeared overnight.
So after you served in the Army, so you came back to Greenhills?
Yeah.
And so then, did you end up having children of your own?
No, we don't have any children.
Okay.
My wife taught school, and she taught a year down at Fort Knox.
Okay.
And then she taught school out here.
And you continued to stay with the telephone company?
Yeah. All of 37 years.
That's awesome. Well, we know that you're the sort of the archivist for the Historical Society, but do you have any keepsakes that you personally have kept from having grown up in Greenhills?
Oh gosh, yeah, I think there's some stuff at home there. Gosh, I can't think right now
That's fine.
what's there at home, but it's, I know Judy has some things from her high school. I guess so, because I got, my tassel from my graduation. Somewhere, I think I've got my band patch from the uniform, and I was an officer in a band, so I had stripes. I told our band director that I was taking those, cutting it off the uniform. But I was band librarian there, and I wound up being band librarian at the Army then. They had a library, but it wasn't much organized, and so took it on there. And but it's something about in school, thinking back, is that we had a principal because the school was in the Hamilton County school system back then. And I can remember in the first grade, it was a rainy day at noon or something, but we had some blocks things, we were building a thing, and the principal came in and helped us build that thing up. Whether they do that today, I don't know. The other thing was that I remember you had a list of spelling words. And when you thought you could spell those words, you went to the principal's office with your list, and he then quizzed you on spelling words, these words on the list. And if you did all right, then he marked your sheet and you took it back to the class. And the other thing was that Christmas time, every kid in the school went through his office and he gave him an orange. Big, I guess, navel orange or whatever it was. When he had, I can remember going in the office and he had crates stacked up behind him. But that was, I guess, those things were in the grocery stores, during the war especially. So we never had any problem with food or anything during the war with like that. Well, the other thing is all the houses were coal-fired. So getting a job to put somebody's coal in their basement was a big thing in making money. At about 50 cents or 75 cents a ton. But there again, the government provided the wheelbarrows and chutes to put your coal in the basement. And of course, being the youngest, I got the job of going in the coal bin to rake it back into the corners, and so they could get all 6 ton in the coal bin.
Are there things that you miss about growing up in Greenhills?
I don't think so, because we had such a what do you want to say? Such a community that there was not whole baseball, any of the sports in high school, the music end of it, the art part of it. Like everybody was your mother and father, because if you did something on one side of Greenhills, before you got home, your mother knew about it, and we didn't have a telephone. So it's kind of, parents looked out for other people's kids. And it, in reading some of this stuff here, the rules and regulations that were Greenhills, that the government had, one of them I saw was that they didn't sod any of the lawns, so they had grass seed down and straw, and you were to water your lawn to get that grass seed started. And one of the notes in it read that if you have a hose and your neighbor doesn't have a hose, loan him your hose so he can water his yard. I think there was more of that, where if mom needed a cup of sugar, she'd go to the neighbor, or if that neighbor needed a cup of flour or something, you know, you could run to them, and it just seemed like there was more community things, where people kind of looked out after each other, more than there is today.
Yeah. So since you've lived in Greenhills your whole life then, so would you say there was sort of a shift that occurred?
Yeah.
Can you talk about that a little
bit? It probably was of course, everybody, when the government, everybody made within the same salary range. So everybody in their economic thing was the same. So everybody was kind of like on the same plane there. Now it's, of course, there wasn't any TV. In fact, we didn't have a telephone until 1950. So if mom wanted to use the phone, she'd go to the neighbor, but that wasn't very often. But it just seemed like that there was more, you know, like calling me in and say, you know, go to the store and get the lady a loaf of bread or a quart of milk or something. And you didn't argue with it, you just did it, you know. It was, another thing was, if one of my friends got a bottle of pop, he passed it around and everybody took a swig out of the same bottle. You know, you took two sips and you should only take one. So that, or if you got thirsty, you turned on the hose and let it run until it got cold and drank out of the hose. You know? Today you wouldn't see that for anything. And of course the rules the government had about, you know, keeping your grass cut. And you could only have certain type of trellis for flowers, and they wanted a certain type of flower color and things like that. At the beginning, you couldn't have a dog until a lot of people complained about it, and then they finally allowed. But you could put the dog house out in the back, but you had to have it up against the house. It couldn't be. Oh, and the other thing was that every yard had a fruit tree in it. Most of them were apple, and they were all different kinds of apples. Because I know we went up the street to get early harvest apples. Those people didn't care; they didn't use them up there. So it was just things like that.
So once the government was sort of out of the picture is when you think this sort of shift occurred then? Yeah,
they tried to, they had a paint fund thing that you paid into, and you were expected to paint the outside every so many years, and then you either had them provide a painter, or when you did it, then you told them that you had done it, and they'd come and inspect it and then pay you back so much from your paint fund. And the other thing is that, of course, everybody walked to school then, and the police chief was at the corner of Cromwell and Winton every morning. because all the kids from that side, walk across Whitten Road. So he was always there in the mornings. Of course, there wasn't a whole lot of traffic, but like there is now, it's like NASCAR in the mornings.
Were there any downsides about growing up in Greenhills?
Not for me, I don't think.
You never felt like the city was isolated at all or anything like that?
No, not really. I guess we had enough to do. Yeah, the other thing is that when I was a kid, in the summertime, I guess where the government hired the boys coach and the girls coach, and they had activities here at the building of sports things in the morning. We'd come up and they'd have kickball or baseball. We'd have dodgeball and stuff. We'd come in the gym. So they had sports activities that for the boys and the girls. And I'd come up in the mornings, ride my bike up here. And there was a section on the alongside the gym on the south side. It was the bicycle porch. And they had the bike racks there, and you parked your bike back there during school. So now the kids all ride the bus. So.
Well, is there anything else that you would like to add that we haven't talked about yet?
I can't really think of anything right now, but it's just the history and how this place was built is just really something that how it was built so really quick. Today it would take the EPA 3 years before there was even a shovel turned. And that's what's fun about working here as an archivist. It's just all the things that we've been able to come across, and people have donated to us. We've gotten old Legion uniforms. The Legion Auxiliary ladies had uniforms too. Well, that was the other thing, is the Legion had their 4th of July fireworks. And that was a real thing. They had the Marquardt House at that time. And the no activity. They would have their carnival up there in the 4th, and then they would, where the Baptist church was, of course it wasn't there, they would set their fireworks off up there. And they were, this firework was donated by Ray's Delicatessen, and this one was donated by 2 other shops went together and bought that one, and it was just, and they had the fire department had their carnivals, which were down behind the shopping center, with the merry-go-round and Ferris wheel and things. And there again, we went up. Mom would give us money, and we'd go up and ride the rides and walk home, in the dark. So it was it was kind of different then. And then people looked out for each other, I think, more at.
Well, thank you so much for talking with us today. Really appreciate it.
Very good.